And now it's my great pleasure to welcome the CEO and President of the Chicago Southland Convention and Visitors Bureau, Jim Garrett.
I want to just say thank you to Jessica and your staff. You guys rock. Great lunch. Thank you so much. I'm just going to kind of keep this loose and just talk a little bit. If you have any questions, just kind of jump in. I first of all want to thank Sarah and Kevin. They're the ones that really kind of picked up the ball regarding the Dragon Boat event. And as they mentioned, it was by far the biggest event we've ever had. And what we'd love to see, this to grow potentially. This is a stretch, but make it a week-long type festival for Blue Island. One thing I sense in this room, and I've got a lot of friends here too, this community has passion. You want to see this community succeed. And one of the things Sarah mentioned was the importance of partnerships, and we've got a great partnership with Blue Island, and we want that to kind of grow and make it better. To give you a big picture of what we do, we're the Chicago Southland Convention and Visitors Bureau. Please excuse me, I've been fighting a cough, so bear with me if I cough a little bit. We're located in Lansing. Our area is pretty large. We have our areas from Midway Airport, south to Peatone, Indiana border to Joliet, 62 municipalities. We really have a great relationship with all of our mayors and all of our state senators and representatives. I'll send words. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks, Kevin. And what our job is to work with our communities and our hospitality partners, being hotels and restaurants. The objective is to bring into the area conventions, trade shows, sporting events. Because when those people come into town, what are they doing? They're spending money. People like the staff here earn their tips. They take that money, they go out and pay mortgages, they buy food, they buy cars. So it's a trickle-down effect. In the Southland, we have over 200,000 people that are basically engaged in the hospitality industry. We have about 6,000 hotel rooms, and one of our jobs, again, as I said, to bring those in here. We have the Convention Center at Tinley Park. This has been great. We'd love to see that expand a little bit. We're engaged with our legislators. As you know, that gaming is going to be coming on upon us. Some people think that's good. Some people think it's bad. Our position is somewhat neutral. But if you stand back and look at the big picture, it's almost at a point where it's becoming, in a way, oversaturated. We've got 5 communities right now that are vying for the gaming license. Their registration has been put in. It'll probably be a year before they're announced. And everybody asks me, Jim, where's it going to go? I said, that's not my business. When it comes, we'll market it and promote it the best we can. In our office in Lansing, we've got a staff of 13. We travel a tremendous amount. We go to 32 industry trade shows throughout the United States. And those trade shows are critically important. Sarah mentioned the importance of relationship building. We go to these trade shows, meet with these folks, talk to them, tell about the amenities that we have to offer from the standpoint of geographic location, hotels, all the amenities and restaurants. We fly them in here, show them all of our facilities in the hope that that trip will convince them to bring their event, trade show, sporting event to the region. It's all about them coming in and spending money. The competition is tough. It is extremely tough to bring business in here, but we've been pretty successful doing it. I don't know if you saw in the news last week, we hosted the National Beard and Mustache competition. You could have been there. I went to the competition on Saturday. I don't know if I want to use the word scary, but I mean some of the beards were just like curling up like this. But the thing was, we had people from Australia, we had people from New Zealand, Iceland, and Canada. We had, I think, 15 states that came in here. And the way that happened, I mentioned we go to trade shows. Joe Kester, who serves on our board, right now he's in Anaheim, California at another sports trade show. He connected and met with the executive director of that association about 6 years ago. Every year they reconnected, to the point where finally they decided, you know what, Joe, we're tired of listening to you. They flew in here. They were with us for 4 days. We showed them the entire area, and they had their event last week and a half ago, one of the most successful ones they've ever had. Our objective now is to get them to come back. One of our big pictures in working with all of our hotels is it's like when somebody leaves a restaurant, the owner of that restaurant wants to say to themselves, they had a great time, they want to tell somebody else, and they want to come back. We try to convey the very same thing to all of our customers. We initiated several years ago a Frontline hospitality training program. Now, this may sound pretty basic, that you need to treat people nicely. You know, you kind of think when you go into a restaurant, go into a hotel, people welcome you and say, how, you know, embrace them. The reason why I did this, I will not mention the name of the community. My vice president and I went to one of the hotels. We were looking for the general manager. And went to one of the hotels. It was on a platform. It was a footprint. There was hotel here, and a parking lot in between. So went to this first one. Is the general manager? No. He's on the other side of the other hotel. Walked across the parking lot, walked to the front desk, and there's a young lady there just kind of on the cell phone talking. And I walked up, and I will never forget this. She's on the phone. She looked up, talked for 2 minutes on the phone.
Oh, wow.
Got off the phone. She said, "What do you want?"
Oh, my gosh.
What do you
How
want?
can I help you?
I said, "I'm here to see the general manager." She said, "What about?" Left my card, walked out, and I said, "We got to make some changes." So that's when we initiated our Frontline training program. We've had about 200 people that have gone through the program. It's kind of a basic common sense how to nicely speak and talk to people, to embrace them so they feel good. And I'll tell you one thing about Blue Island, you have an embracing concept when people come into your community. And it's heartwarming. And I wish all of our communities were as embracing as Blue Island is. So I really, and I see the passion. I wish we had more people that had the pride and passion that you guys show. I know you have challenges, issues with the hospital. I know there's some talk about hotel. You'd like to see a hotel? We would too. Maybe a boutique hotel somewhere.
That's right.
We have a lot of connecting links with many hotel developers, and it's just a matter of coming together and trying to make something like that happen. Let me see what else. Jump in if you have any questions. Oh, let me talk about funding, how we're funded. We have about a $2.4 million budget. Here's how we're funded. It's very complicated because we have a state grant. Here's a simple way of explaining it. Let's say, for example, you stay overnight in a hotel. It's $100. On top of that, the state collects a 6% hotel tax. That goes to Springfield. In Springfield, collectively, all the hotels' money goes there. It generates about $300 million, just sitting up there. Okay? Now, in our area, we have 21 communities that have hotels. We have an agreement with each one of those hotels. They also collect tax. Pretend, let's say a hotel collects 8% tax. The village keeps 7 of those. We receive 1. So we get all these little 1% coming at us. It generates about $800,000. Governor picks up the phone. "Jim, how much do you have in your pot?" I said, "Well, we got about $800,000. He says, "Well, I'm a nice guy. I'm going to take some money out of this, and I'm going to match it." And that's a very simplified way of explaining how we're funded. But on top of that, we also have memberships. We have restaurants, transportation companies, airlines. Southwest Airlines is a big supporter of what we do. Hotels support us. We work with IDOT, Toll Authority. Let me tell you a quick story about my favorite story about the Toll Authority. There was a guy named Blavojevic. Does anybody remember his name?
Yeah.
Okay. When he was running for governor many years ago, there was a company out of California called Wilton Partners that came to him and gave him a big contribution. "Thank you very much. What do you want?" They wanted to operate the Oasis facilities on the tollway system. And somehow they were high bid. How this happened, they got it. Then they go back to the governor and they say, "Governor, you know those ugly blue signs for hotels, restaurants, and service stations? This is when the interstate was under construction. If you don't put those signs back up, no one will know that those businesses are at that intersection, and they'll all come to the Oasis where those signs are permitted." I've been battling that for 20 years, trying to get those signs put back up, and it's highly frustrating. One of the things that we initiated was a program called a co-op billboard program. That basically it's a commercial billboard, the great big ones, and we get the logo signs of all the hotels and restaurants in that area. It's a pay to play. And the intent is when you're driving down the interstate and you see these signs, the intent is to say, hey, we got stuff, get off. I don't care if you get a hamburger, get a hotel room, buy a Coke, whatever it may be, it encourages people to get off. We've been doing that for almost 20 years now. We've put up probably 15 of these things. It's expensive, it's time consuming to put up, but it does work. So I'm kind of going off a different direction. I'm not feeling really good today, and I apologize for that.
There's a cough drop.
I've got one. Thank you very much. Let me get some water here. What is that?
That's how we're recording you. Let us
Oh,
know.
being recorded?
You are.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is just like the testimony that's
I know.
happening. in Washington,
And
D.C.
I'm really, and I apologize, 'cause I'm on medication. I'm not really with it today. So please ask me some questions. I can answer questions better than I can stand up and talk today. You're dying to ask me a question. Yes.
How much money is being directed towards Blue Island? In the last year, how much have you contributed to Blue Island?
We don't contribute specifically to an individual community. Basically, some of the material that we have, we produce visitor guides, we produce all those various publications. We don't give money to a community. However, for example, and I think, did we do something with you guys with a grant for the Dragon Boat?
Maybe initially
Okay.
when that was launched.
We have a grant program that is, we have about $63,000 that we set aside. If you're going to have an event, a trade show, or a sporting event, you can come to us and say, we're going to advertise the event outside of the area to bring people in. If you do that, we will match those dollars up to $5,000. So that's, if you got an event like that, come to us, talk to us. We want to give that money out. It's important. Yes.
I wish you would just review what the Frontline program is. That's very interesting.
What it is, we do this probably every quarter. We send a notification to all our hotels, all the restaurants, and all the communities, and we say, if you have someone in your front line, whether it be a cashier, whether it be a waiter, whether it be a person at a front desk hotel, anybody that interconnects with the community on a one-to-one basis from the standpoint of hospitality, you could get somebody from a Walmart that if they want to get training, they can come to our office and they can get trained. We've done that for a long time. More
Jim,
questions?
as far as
Yeah.
your financing to co-op big events, sporting events, is that an application process that goes directly through you? Does that go through the chamber? How does
No, it comes to us.
Okay.
Yeah, we have, what we do, we have a workshop that explains the process that you have to go through. The bottom line is, if you're going to have an event, it needs to generate hotel room nights.
Okay.
That's what it's all about, because it's heads and beds. When those people are here, obviously they're spending money. So, I mean, the Dragon Boat event could qualify for it. All they have to do is come, talk to us. What can we do?
If you were in any of these business owners' shoes that are here, what can we do? What should we be doing more of to get more of a spotlight on Blue Island?
That's a good question. I think, first of all, I think you got a major cheerleader with the chamber. There are 36 chambers of commerce in the Southland, and I want to tell you, the Blue Island is probably one of the most active, most aggressive in wanting to keep a cohesiveness of pride for the community. We were just talking earlier about the art program that you guys are going to be doing. I think that is awesome. When you take pride in your community, whether you put art up or whether you put new planters out, anything that makes your place look better is great. Sadly, we see a lot of poverty in the Southland. Communities, if they just took pride, if they just went out and cleaned up, it would make an incredible difference in their community. You guys are doing it right. You guys are doing it right.
And well, that's part of what being a business owner of Blue Island, and I know your shop's outside of town, but is that there's that 1% business district, development district tax. So being a part of that, being in Blue Island, being operational and contributing to that is a big step towards some of the improvements that we're going to finally see start to be made out of this fund. And that's the money that then allows us to do the enhancements that you'll see along Western and Old Western Avenue starting next year. Things like planters, benches, receptacles, recycling receptacles. And part of this is we're hoping to be some public art. We have actually next Wednesday is the community development meeting. So 6 o'clock, there's a hearing, a public hearing on recreational cannabis use in the city. And then at 7 o'clock, there's a community development meeting. At that meeting, we're going to have the CEO of Chicago Public Artists Group, Steve Weaver, and he's going to be presenting the plan that they put together for us to get us started on some outdoor art in Blue Island next year. There's 5 locations that we've picked along Western Avenue, starting with Damasty on the north, all the way to the Triangle on the south. So that'll be discussed and reviewed, and it'll be up to council to decide how much of that plan we undertake for the next year. So the answer is, I guess, to continue to support the initiatives like this. One, if you're operating your business, again, you're contributing already, thank you very much. But 2, to just kind of help continue to spread and get the good word out. And I hate to say it like this, but keep the faith, because there are a lot of good things in the works right now, a lot of positive movement, more than I've seen and felt since my time in this position. And what keeps me excited about things is that I work with great people like all of you that are just focused on the forward. And I think so long as we can kind of keep our heads focused on the forward and not on Tahoes, will be great.
It's really about connecting and talking and trying to figure stuff out. We have some. I brought some materials and put in front of you
I
there.
love that rail fanning bit too. They're big on promoting Blue Island as a
Yeah,
great
we are.
rail fan location,
It is.
which is a big tourism item.
One of the things we do, we're a membership organization. I think we have some members here today. I will tell you my favorite story. I went to a business after hours, and going to those kind of events and networking is really, really important. And I met Mike and Cindy Krause. Mike was he was in the elevator business with a big company. He left it and was starting his own elevator business. And we were sitting there talking, and I asked him to come in if he was interested in becoming a member of the Bureau. Come on into the Bureau. We'll explain to you what we do. We had a PowerPoint. They become a member of the Bureau. Now, this was about 15 years ago, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but in Linwood, the Ho-Chunk Sporting Complex was getting started back then. Okay. I got a telephone call one day indicating that they wanted to put an elevator lift of some type in the building. I know nothing other than elevators go up and down, that's it. He asked me, the guy at the Ho-Chunk, he said, do you know of anybody? I called Mike up. Mike, this is Jim. I don't know what this is about. Here's the contact. Go over and check it out. He called me 2 months later, and he said, Jim, I really appreciate that call. I just got a $52,000 contract.
Wow.
Now, his company, and we've become very good friends. And we go out, have dinner and so forth with my wife and his wife. And about 2 years ago, we went out to dinner, and we always go Dutch, just split it. So we're sitting there having dinner, and the waitress came up and said, we're ordering, and I said, we're splitting the ticket. He said, no, I'm buying dinner tonight. I said, no, we always do split. He said, what's going on? He said, well, do you remember that phone call that I made to you many, many years ago? I said, yeah, I'll never forget that phone call. He said, well, that phone call started my business and accelerated and accelerated and accelerated. And the reason why I'm buying your dinner tonight is because I just sold my company to Otis International.
Oh, wow.
And I said, so you just sold your business to Otis International, and all I'm getting out of this is this lousy dinner. That is a true story. And it's the importance of networking and talking. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm always reaching for new ideas. Help me figure it out. That's what we're trying to do all the time. So, give me some questions, please.
What can be done about the exorbitant property taxes that people are
Let me
paying
give
for
you
small
her number. Just a minute. Hello, Tony.
Yeah.
This is Jim.
Yeah.
There's some folks here in Blue Island that want to know about your tax deal. They're ticked off and they want to get them lowered.
Yeah, it's about all you can do.
It's
nothing.
It's probably one of the most frustrating things I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
Cook County has initiated, which we fought, a 1% hotel tax. We stopped, thank goodness, the soft drink tax. I'll tell you what happened. I was part of that group that was trying to push that. I testified 3 times. The very last day that I was supposed to testify, the day they were taking the vote, I got up really early and I went to Stroger Hospital. I did this for a reason. I went in there and I found a soft drink machine and bought a Mountain Dew. took it out, poured it out, went into the building, they called my name to speak, and I was up there speaking for a few minutes. And I said, by the way, Madam President, I have a question to ask you. You're selling this Mountain Dew product at your hospital, and yet you're here trying to stop things like diabetes. Can you share with me why you're doing that and making a profit? She was ticked off. But we did get that stopped. One of the things that was also very frustrating that we fought and did not win was the Cook County prevailing wage issue. That is basically, say for example, if you're going to build a building, and I love unions, they're great folks to work with, but this Cook County prevailing wage issue really hurt the Southland especially, because what it did, and say if you're going to build a building for $1 million, because of this new issue that they brought on, which law now, it's going to cost you, instead of $1 million, it's going to cost about $1,250,000 because of the red tape that you have to go through and so forth. It's frustrating. And I always ask the question, I always like to drill down and say, where are you spending all that money? Where's it all going? Where's it all going? I don't, and they never give you a straight answer. I don't know. It's over my head. Is this on tape? Oh, this is scary.
Yeah, I said some things. It's fine.
What else? If anybody would like to come in and really see a really good presentation, we have an orientation once a month. Please feel free to come in and we'll explain in more detail what we do for you. You have a question back there. I saw your earrings. It said boss. I love that.
Well, you the boss, I'm the boss. We all bosses.
You all bosses?
That's right.
Okay.
Well, my question is, basically, is for the small business owner like myself, is how does it help with the chamber and with the Southland? How does that benefit us?
Becoming a member?
As we are members, how does that help us?
Well, that's a good question. We're trying to promote the entire area. Blue Island is part of that area. I think the most important connecting link that you need to have is an ongoing communication with the Chamber of Commerce. We work with the Chamber here. If you want to become a member of our organization, we make no promises. All we can do is put you on our website, put you on our visitor guide. Some people get a benefit, some don't. We make no promises. We're saying it can give you more exposure. The more exposure that you can get for your business, going to business after hours and networking, not only with this chamber, but with other chambers, it can be a great benefit to you. Just networking, talking to people, tell them what you got, show your passion. Go ahead.
I know that in your marketing journal, the golf course, Meadows Golf Course is in there.
Right.
And City of Lyons in there. I always noticed though that, is there a way we can get a bigger ad? Or
You can place an ad in there if you want to. If we've got several communities that place ads in the publication. If you want to do that, that's fine.
because I know that we get a lot of calls. Business has increased in the past, I'd say 3-4 years.
Right.
Because a lot of exposure.
Exposure.
At the same time, I don't know if that, I think it's called Golf something, they also do the advertising for us. But because of they come from all over because of our pricing.
Right.
18 holes and everything else. But I never see a large picture or anything in there.
Well, you mean specifically on Blue Island? What we try to feature different communities all the time, and we're looking for good quality pictures. So I need good quality pictures. You know what I look for in a picture? Color, movement, vitality, smiles, kids, faces. That's what I look for, and a lot of action. We try to get the same kind of thing in all of our color pictures with golf. You may be aware that the BMX is coming to Olympia Fields Country Club this year. By the way, if anybody would like to volunteer for that, go on their website. It'll cost you about $160 to volunteer.
What
but
event is it?
I'm sorry?
What event is it?
It's the BMX Championship Golf Course Championship that's going to be at Olympia Fields Country Club.
BMW?
Yeah, BMW.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's BMX. Okay, gotcha.
I'm sorry, BMX. We work
It's
with
a new
BMX.
biking
We
and
work with
golf.
BMX. We work with that group too.
Okay. But the
But-
BMW event, I know.
Yes, BMW.
One of the ways we can get more visible placement in all of the Southland's publications is with the addition of lodging. When we have heads and beds and we're contributing
Yes.
to the money, then you'll notice, like if you look at this map showing the area, we're on there, but we're not in bold because we don't have lodging. So this is something that we want to continue to work on. It's got huge benefits for our community on an ongoing fashion, but it certainly puts us in a bigger display. That's why, again, why it was so generous of you to come here and speak with us, because we aren't one of those contributing communities in that way, but we can be soon. And one of the things that we get from this relationship with the Chicago Southland is we get a direct line to other successful boutique hotel operators, Homewood, La Banque, La Voûte, all of that we know of. Jim has a direct relationship with the owner and the developer of that. We know how he was able to secure some funding to open that facility. Jim's taking pictures of buildings while he's here in Blue Island and sending them directly to him.
The bank building, what was the bank building?
It's the vault now.
The vault. Now, I took pictures of that because I know someone that was looking for, the same gentleman that owns the boutique hotel in Homewood. We're very good friends. And he said, if you're out ever looking around and you see something that might fit the glove to make this happen, let me know. And I went over to that and I took 30 or 40 pictures and I sent it to him. I don't know where he is with it. Now it's the vault.
Now we're gonna flip-flop. We're gonna just turn your camera around and go at the Klein's building. We'll send that to him.
You got to
and see
keep
what he thinks.
always look for an opportunity. See something, that could be something unique and different.
So it's those relationships that we get, those connections that we get that help get things moving. I've never been to one CVB event where I haven't spoken with a hotel developer, and that's important for us to continue to stay on their radar.
By the way, Sarah and Kevin, we had our annual meeting a couple of months ago. We had the Governor Pritzker there and Congresswoman Robin Kelly. It's an annual meeting and awards luncheon, and we acknowledge these guys for what they've done to elevate the importance of Dragon Boat. And the governor was there, took pictures. It'll be in our newsletter that's coming out real soon. You'll be getting copies of those too. So thank you. That's heads and beds. That's entertainment. That's fun, and it's getting exposure to Blue Island, and that's what's important.
Positive exposure.
Absolutely.
Which we definitely want to continue. So thank you, Jim. That was a nice honor. What I really liked, and we talked about this earlier, was the theme of that luncheon was one Southland, one Chicago Southland. Because it is 63 communities, but we're all one area. And as we've seen, as we go, our neighbors go. As our neighbors go, we go. And we need to continue to keep that in mind. We have a tendency, I think, in Blue Island, one of the things that makes us so welcoming and beautiful of the community is we are kind of insular. But we know, and I've been saying this and we've all been talking about it, Blue Island cannot sustain Blue Island on its own. We have to attract people from outside of Blue Island to spend their dollars here. And so if we can kind of take that more inclusive mindset and realize that as Robbins and Posen and some of our neighboring communities go, we go, and vice versa. The perfect example I have is Beverly and how well Beverly is doing right now. And that's no surprise, and it's no secret, and it has a lot to do with what's going on in Blue Island these days. That same type of relationship and that same type of reciprocity happens with other communities like Posen and Robbins. And so that's going to be some of the things we'll be focusing on as a chamber as well, is making sure we're expanding out for a more regional feel so that we can help lead that charge. Doesn't mean we turn our backs on what's in our own backyard or on those efforts, but that same principle that Blue Island can't sustain Blue Island on its own also applies to organizations like ours. And so if we can kind of take that charge, I think we'll be a lot stronger and more sustainable organizations in the long run.
You want to find something that is exciting and different that sets you apart from everybody else. That's important. Like breweries. I'll drink to that. Now, this is a unique thing, but if there's other things, whether it be art, culture, that draw people in, that's what you really need to think about. It's all about hospitality. It's all about it's about making people feel good. When they walk away, they say, "Man, that rocked. That was really cool to go there." Isn't that what your objective is when a customer walks out? What do you want them to say? Exactly the same thing.
That place was great. I can't wait to tell my friends about it. I can't wait to come back.
That's right. We try to instill that in every business in the Southland.
You know what I think is important too is this location. I've always thought that
You're central.
man, you're right in between 57 and 294 and across the street from Chicago. The location is absolutely ideal.
I hadn't thought about this, but might want to think about doing, I mentioned that co-op billboard program. That might be something you guys might want to think about. I'll be happy to, seriously.
Yeah, no.
That draws people off the interstate and gets them in. It works. If there's it's positioning of where that billboard is critical. It's got to be just before the exit off the interstate to get in here. I haven't checked that out, but if you want to look at that, I'll be happy to help you with that.
You got it. I'll follow up with you for sure. I got a bunch of people who told me accountable for that too, so that's good.
You're doing a great
Oh,
job.
thank you.
Your passion, I mean, it really shows.
It's a direct reflection of the people that I represent and work with and that help me out. I mean, this is what you get when you encounter a Blue Islander. I think by and large is we're tough and we have strong opinions about things, but we all are very focused on keeping this community going.
One thing I love about Blue Island is the historical component, especially the beautiful homes. I love this. Every year there's a motorcycle ride from here to Moments, and we go through Blue Island. I get a chance to see all of them. I love my motorcycle, but my favorite thing is going through the neighborhoods of Blue Island with everybody's going on either their motorcycle or their cars, their old cars, classic cars. It's a fun thing to do.
It's great. And for us too, that's a big part of it. Is some of this isn't even tourism or visitor based. We're recruiting business owners. We're recruiting residents. Done it very well. I like to say the unofficial town hall of Blue Island is right down the street at Rock Island Public House. But it's sort of this district especially has kind of been a vetting ground for people when they're coming to Blue Island or considering doing business in the area or moving here. This representation and this experience that we give them is a big recruiting tool that we have in our toolbox there. And I would like to just quickly address business development because it's been it's always a hot topic of conversation. And one of the things that I hear most often that is probably the biggest falsehood is that there's an overload of empty buildings or unoccupied buildings or empty storefronts. And we've done some audits. We've been going up and down Western Avenue, up and down Old Western Avenue, and cataloging. And there are far fewer than what that prevailing attitude in that statement keeps saying. And in fact, my biggest challenge is working as the chamber director and trying to help recruit business here, which isn't part of the chamber's job, but it's something that we're happy to do, is that I can't get business owner or building owners to call me back. I have interested businesses, qualified businesses that want to come to town, and I can't get a hold of a business owner. I get a hold of a business owner and they don't, or the building owner, and they're not calling the business owner back. So another way that you guys can help me and help the city with those efforts is if you know who owns a building, if I call you, I might call you someday and say, do you know who owns this building? We can't get a hold of them. We go through every resource we have, but some of these are downright impossible. If we can get some of these out from under those folks, we have interested doctors and service-based businesses and technology companies that are interested in coming here, and I can't get them in a space. So that's something too that we can work together on as a community. I'm not a big fan of blanket statements. This town isn't a ghost town. Tumbleweed is ridiculous. It's not geographically appropriate. This is a vibrant town, and there's a lot of good things happening. And if you see an empty storefront, call us about it. There's a chance on that we're working on it. We've been trying to get a hold of that person, or it's not empty. They're just sitting on it for storage. So if you can help be our partners in that, that's going to go a long way to help filling in some of these storefronts.
One of the things about those empty stores are canvases for artwork. Think about all the windows. If you can find some, am I getting some signals over here?
No, I couldn't agree with you more.
Okay, I don't know how you get that done, but I know you got the art program coming up. If you could,
That's
that to me, because that is something that people love to go and see. When I'm sitting in Blue Island waiting for a train to pass, and you see all the graphics on that is fascinating to me. Same kind of fascination you could get if you have artwork in those store windows. It just makes it beautiful. Just really neat.
You got a question, Tom?
Well, we have Phase Point.
Yeah.
I know you guys are trying to, you have some ideas of how to develop that further. But we have the highways, we have the Dixie Highway, and
Yep.
we have the railways, and now we have we're trying to develop the riverway. And there's really not good, that's tourism going up and down the southwest
Right.
suburbs. More people accessing the lake through
Yes.
our canal here. How do we incorporate that into our business district, and how do we get but people getting off the their pontoon boat and getting on Old Western Avenue? How do they do that? Right now, I think, is there any slips open to visitors over at your spot?
Yes, we do have slips open.
But I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking about. When we're trying to get visitors, you're trying to get people from every part of the region. Well, that's another opportunity we have.
Sure.
Now, just because we don't have hotels can we get more exposure if we do have maybe more access points?
I would think so. You'd be probably having to talk to IDOT on issues like that. What's your relationship with IDOT? Is it a strong?
Well, you know, just like any municipality's relationship with
Yeah, I know.
IDOT. And
I did.
it's MWRD as well.
And yes.
Some of that is connectivity through some of the enhancements from the business district development that go down Vermont and then over to the parking area there for that commuter in the waterfall park. So when these enhancements begin to be installed, and some of that art too that's going to go under those bridges and overpasses, lighting is going to be a big part of these art installations too. That'll be a natural tie because you'll have that same lighting and benches and stuff like that, along with wayfinding signage too.
Signage is important.
There's another grant that the city was awarded recently, Mark Miller applied for, and that's going to be just providing ease of access from public transportation to the bike pathways and to the sidewalks. So these are going to be enhancements that'll help. I think even a portion of Irving is going to be, or is that Gregory? Irving is going to be turned into one way down by the train station there. So there's going to be a lot of enhancements that'll make it a lot more friendly for pedestrians to take public transit, get off, hop on their bike, do the thing. You know, hopefully, again, with boats. I know that there are some of the plans that I had seen for the Cal-Sag Trail and for the development down here even included some space for maybe boats to come right up here to Old Western, and that's not off the table, I don't think, for discussion because it's a fantastic idea. And
A couple of years ago, we brought a bass fishing competition to Blue Island. We wanted to accelerate it even larger. I think it was here 1 year, 2 years, and we hopefully can get those folks back. One of the things that I'm impressed with, for example, take a community like Tinley Park. They're initiating a program downtown called Harmony Square. In Lansing, they initiate a Fox Point complex that has an amphitheater. Music is really important. And I don't know if you guys have looked or identified a location somewhere in the Southland where you could have a gathering point that incorporates music, an amphitheater of some type, a park. And if you just want to see something really neat, go to Lansing and look at what they've done at a park in downtown. It's really nice. And the project that's going to go in Tinley Park is focused all on music, and it's right at the train station. It's at a park right across the train station. You get ideas from other folks, implement it here. It costs money, but that could be something that could be really, really beneficial to you. Just a thought.
speaking of people getting ideas from other communities, we were told this year that our friends of the South in Kankakee are having a Dragon Boat Festival this year as well. So
Becoming
just
very-
goes to show you how those good ideas spread. And don't worry, we'll trounce them. Don't worry. I'll make sure. But it's the weekend after ours for fun too. So same company. So register your team early.
Any other questions? If you want to really learn about the Bureau, come to one of the orientations. I am just not up to it today. I apologize for that.
It's all right, Jim. We appreciate you coming out. Honestly, thank you so much for visiting with us today. Help me feel better.
Thank you. Take the material, take a look at, and also if you have any suggestions or ideas, please communicate. Let us know. Say this looks terrible. Here's a new idea. Let us know. We don't have all the answers.
Feel free to funnel anything through me as well. I'm not afraid to pick up the phone and give Jim a
I
call.
want to tell you something. She is probably one of the best chamber execs, and I'm not just saying that and sucking up because I got a free lunch. She has the passion, and it shows. And you guys are lucky to have her. Kevin, where's Kevin at? You're lucky. Thank you for what you guys do. Thank you very much. You help us.
Oh, thank you, Jim. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for coming today. I hope you learned a little bit. I know that, like I said, I really appreciate Jim coming out and spending this time with us because while we've been able to expand that partnership through these sporting events, and that's something we're going to continue to do. The National Wakeboarding Association is interested in Blue Island and hosting their nationals here. These are things that we're constantly exploring with them. But it's also a great arm and avenue that as chamber members you have access to. So when you have these things going on that warrant that regional attention, let me know. We can call Jim, we can call Joel, we can call their staff. They're great, they're responsive, and they're willing to work with us, and they support Blue Island very much, and we appreciate that. Without their support, we couldn't keep going like we're doing, and I do believe we've got even bigger and better things on the horizon. So thank you all for everyone coming out, to my board members that are here, to the members. I really appreciate you.
Sir, I don't know if this is appropriate venue, but could you give us an update on the old Helen? I call Helen's Old Lantern Inn, but it's the
Sure.
Maple Tree.
Yeah.
Also, Jevons. Anything
Okay.
there?
Yeah, sure. So we'll do a little State of the Union. So we'll start with the Maple Tree in the original location here on Old Western. Has been purchased. There is a woman who is going to be moving in. She's going to be renovating, living upstairs, and from what I understand, operating a deli-style shop downstairs. The concern I know for a lot of us here in town has been that something happened with that building because it's blighted and looks bad and all those other things. So my understanding is that the city put in language in this transaction that work was to begin within 30 days of her closing on the property, and that was about 2 weeks ago. So if work doesn't begin, I understand there's probably going to be penalties and fines because we don't want to sit on that too much longer.
Rebuilding it completely or partial?
It's my understanding that she took an engineer through, right?
The original part of the building, like taking out the veranda and the back addition, those have to come down. But the original structure is going to stay.
The front part?
Yeah.
What about Jevons? Anything there?
I know that the family has not formally listed the property with a realtor. There are a few entities that are considering it, but nothing's moving just yet. Like I said, there are folks that are interested. Some of the folks that we've been talking to, it's a large space that would have quite a bit of work converted, to convert it into, say, food service or something like that. So there is interest. We're hoping we can keep that commerce local and maybe, plug in some local entities into that space, but we're certainly, open and welcoming all those offers. Other items that have happened, I know you probably heard of the bistro.
Why don't you give them an update on the York property?
Yeah, so the York Street restaurant, the Islands Cafe, all the names over the years, most recently Maple Tree and Bistro. That has been leased to Chef Jennifer Gavin. She is opening a restaurant. She has a catering business now called Edible Passport. It features food from around the globe. There'll be 11 countries that she features regularly. Italy, Spain, Jamaica, things like that will regularly be on, plus a guest country. And her experience comes as the tour caterer for Lady Gaga. She was a tour caterer for Paul McCartney. She was on 2 seasons of Hell's Kitchen on Fox. So she has some notoriety and she has some following. And she really wanted to expand that catering into the restaurant side. So that's what she's going to be bringing to that York Street location. She hopes to be open on January 1st. So send her good vibes. I know once she got in there, things were
Very impressive.
yeah, she's great. If you haven't met Jen, she's wonderful. We love women-owned businesses, obviously, so we're excited for her. Her mom is Wendy. She's like her business partner, and she's been hanging out around town too. So if you see them, please give them a warm welcome. All the other stuff I know about in town, I think, is just hearsay right now. But there's some exciting things happening, and as soon as we can kind of let those out, we will be doing so as soon as we have the okay to do some of that. But, and as you know, with the hospital, there was some legislation passed at the state level to allow that facility to reopen. It's a little cleaner reopen, and quorum cannot be the operator if a facility were to reopen. So those efforts to get an operator in the hospital are ongoing. Quorum is the person involved in that negotiation. And last I heard at City Council, there are a few parties interested, but nothing formal. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Happy Friday, everybody. And I have these letters for Small Business Saturday. I'll be standing over here. I'll pass them out. If you'd like to participate, I just would need anything by the 25th that you'd like to put in the bags.